Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Business with a servant's heart. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk on life. Our guest will share his life story. We want you to success in life. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk on life. We're gonna talk on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are gonna witness. Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Business with a servant's heart. Listen to the podcast.
You look for the salesperson in a crisis who's not making their number, for instance, just one example, who's blaming the product team for not getting the product out to market in time, or blaming the marketing team. Man, that's daylight. That requires a conversation, right? That requires, this is where inquisitive comes in, right? That requires a push on the organization to make sure goals are aligned. But that's daylight. That's a cancer to an organization. So how do you drive that out and make sure that everybody is as close to kind of being on the same mission as possible?
I want to invite you into the Business Network, my free school community for entrepreneurs and business owners who want to grow their network and scale their business. Inside, you'll get step-by-step lessons, monthly workshops, feedback, scripts, resources, bonuses, and a community of like-minded people who believe in helping each other win. Join us today at school.com/thebusinessnetwork or click the link in the description and click Join Group. I'll see you inside.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. Thank you for joining us today. And I'm fired up because, you know what? We want to help churches and nonprofits. But you know that little credit card thing and pay thing? And, there's all different ways we can pay now. How'd you like to get that and be able to serve people when you make payments, make donations? I'm fired up because it's just an incredible concept that's going to grow fast. So I'm glad I'm having my podcast. I'm not sure I can have him on in 6 months. He's going to be way too busy. But with that being said, let's bring on our gratitude for today. Today's gratitude is one day you'll look back and be so proud of how far you've come. Boy, take that in. Look back right now where you are today. Maybe you've dropped a little bit, but you're better than when you were a baby. You're better than when you were 10 years old. You're just an adult now. You can do more. Just look at it that way. What a great comeback. It fits my guest very well. Let's bring him on. Kenny, welcome to the show.
Steve, great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Talk about impact. What's your greatest impact you've made so far to this point?
Yeah, Steve, by a very quick way of background, I am CEO of a company called Pushpay, who serves primarily churches around the U.S., but also some nonprofits. And I like to say we have impacts. The team has impact every single day because we're changing lives in local communities through church. But if I had to pick one, it's over the past several weeks, actually. And I had this vision, a year ago around our product and where we take it. And being relatively new to this category, I grew up in the church, but have been leading software companies and technology companies around the world for the past 25 years. Being relatively new to this category, I noticed something was wrong in the category, which is we're not doing it right as tech providers. We're confusing churches with all the data we're giving them, and what they care deeply about is just to minister to people and to reach out and have impact on people. And so we just added a company to our mix over the past 8 weeks or so called Nurture that allows us to bring new technology to those that are on the front lines of ministry, and that's executive pastors and their staffs, and just empower them to do ministry, to know their flock. And that will have lasting impact on communities, on lives as we go. Yeah.
What an impact. And you made a great word. You put out a great word there, community. I think we're all listening, and me as well, want to affect our community and impact them any way we can. Talk about how you do that with Pushpay with the churches. Give us kind of a mission and how that works.
Yeah, I mean, our goal is severalfold. One is, I mean, if you had to boil it down, it's how do you know your flock, right? How do churches know their flock? Churches grow. You might say, gosh, it's about the giving piece, or no, really what it is how do you know your flock better? Through technology, because as churches grow, you can't, right? Once a church gives above 100 people, certainly into the thousands, you can't know every person. So we use modern technology, including AI, to allow pastors to know their flock better so they can minister to them. That's through giving data, that's through donor analytics, that's through people data, through small groups, through engagement, you name it, through Resi Streams, through our streaming platform, you name it, we pull all that together so a pastor can know their flock better. And that is how they will have impact on their community over time.
Well, churches are failing in technology. Like law firms, their technology, they're way behind. A lot of those old industries, they're always the last to get involved. I love that you're doing that, because technology, can it be just a low cost, huge impact for a church?
I mean, listen, the cool thing is we're seeing a bit of a resurgence as the church grows in the US, which it is. More and more people are coming to the church from industry. Like I'm seeing more and more executive pastors that were former executives at a Fortune 100 or you name it. And they're bringing with them this passion to transform their ministry, to be clear, with technology. And so there is this resurgence and this adoption of technology that's really, really cool right now that's happening, not only just in the church, but also I'd say in the nonprofit world in general. It's a super exciting space to be in right now.
Well, and let's talk about the flip side. Nonprofits, I won't say names, had some bad press out there where people make donations and the president of the nonprofit's pulling in $250,000 and less than 5% or whatever that number is, goes actually to the nonprofit. How can you improve that situation?
Yeah, listen, we view that as donors and also those that are overseeing those nonprofits. That's their accountability and their responsibility, and there ought to be strong checks and balances. And I'm seeing a lot of that in the industry where there are, right, where third parties are reporting on what percentage of total donations are actually going to the mission. What I would tell you in the church space where we serve 99% of our customers is that they are amazing stewards of these donations, right? It is they view it as the condition of the heart. They view it as obedience. And so literally, Steve, we'll talk maybe this later about servant's heart. Part of my job is to be in front of my customers every single day. And I've been in front of about 500 executive pastors over the past year since I've stepped into this role. And I can tell you without equivocation that, the stewardship of these dollars is super impressive on the ground at the church level. And so I can't speak to every nonprofit and so forth. I know there's good checks and balances, but yes. I will tell you, those that I've interacted with, they are amazing stewards of these donations. And
I'm going to add you probably a big help to that, making sure it's done, making what they don't know. That's what hurts nonprofits and churches. You take that don't know away and go, now you know, and they're like, wow, okay, and then the impact happens. Well, let's dive into the servant. Go ahead.
And it's it really is. It's about transparency, right? And what I'm seeing, and part of our role is providing transparency back to the church and also back to donors, right? So, and again, it's not just about credit cards. It's about, you name the modality of payment that turns into a donation. It could be real estate or stock or crypto or cash or check or credit, you name it. Having systems of transparency and data of record just continues to promote that important responsibility and accountability for every dollar of those donations.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, because that's important, and that's the big part of what you do. Let's dive in the servant's heart. If somebody walked up to you on the street and said, "Kenny, what does a servant's heart mean?" What would you tell them?
Yeah, what I would tell you is, as CEO of a business that is serving churches, frankly, I'd go back to Paul's words, right? Not to get too over spiritual here, but in Philippians, he tells us do nothing out of selfish ambition or empty conceit, and consider yourself below others or consider others above yourself, right? I think Paul was so wise, and he summed it up in such a a succinct phrase in Philippians, just to tell us, flip the org chart, man. Your job as CEO of any other leader is not to have people serve you. It's you're serving people, and through that there's power, there's collective power.
Let's educate the audience, because you proved to me you're an expert in the servant's heart, giving, culture. People listening, and these are entrepreneurs too, solopreneurs. You're going to have a team of maybe outside CPAs, lawyer, whatever that is. But how do they, if they don't have that servant heart culture, how do they build it?
Yeah, honestly, it's how you hire, it's how you release people back to the marketplace, and it's what you reinforce every single day. And that starts from the top. That regardless if you're an entrepreneur leading yourself and maybe some partners, and you're super passionate about your customer base, or you're leading a Fortune 500 company with thousands and thousands of people, it really does start with who you hire, what you reinforce in the culture, and then therefore who you let go, frankly, who's not meeting kind of that standard of reinforcement. And it's got to be modeled from the top, Steve. If you really want to build a servant's heart culture, if you want to build what I call a no daylight culture, I'll get to that maybe a little bit later. Then how you reinforce that through people every single day is job one. Full stop.
I like that. I like the release part, because that's a component that people struggle with. You shouldn't struggle with it. And what I tell mentor entrepreneurs and business owners is you're serving both yourself and them, because if they're not a fit, they probably know it.
That's right.
And know they need to be released. They're going to fight it because then find another job. And then what you do is help them find another job. That's a great way to let somebody go, going, hey, I just talked to Kenny. He has a possible position. I'll go talk to him. Yeah. Outcome, you don't find, the outcome's the outcome, but right. At least offer. I love I'm going to use that word, release. It's so much safer than firing or let go, or because it is really what you're doing.
I mean, listen, Steve, life is too dang short, right? Today I serve my customer or churches and nonprofits, but go back to any part of my background, I would say the exact same thing to the team. Go back to when we were selling payroll to a small to medium-sized business in the US. If you're not passionate about the plight of the small business owner and kind of what they do to run payroll every other week, and how you can use software to take that off them so they can focus on their restaurant or their barbershop. If you're not passionate about that mission and serving it, dude, go find another job. It's just, life is too short. And so when we think about hiring, when we think about who we decide to bring in and be part of this amazing culture, it's one part passion that I just mentioned, or passion for the mission, passion for the customer. It's one part being super inquisitive, right? Which also gets to being a servant heart, right? Building a culture that can push on each other and be super inquisitive. And it's one part humility. And if those three parts, if you're not spiking on those three parts, I don't care how amazing you are at whatever function you happen to be leading or serving. If those three parts aren't present, it's not going to be a good fit, and you're not reinforcing a strong servant heart culture.
Mention those three parts again for the audience.
One part passion, one part being inquisitive, and one part humility. You notice nowhere in there that I say that you're an expert at sales, that you're an expert at marketing, you're an expert at accounting. That's just assumed, right? That's just baseline. You're probably not going to be talking, to any of the organizations I've led unless you spike in what you're already, what you're good at. But if you don't have those three pieces, you're going to detract from the culture. You're not going to add to it.
That's why you see podcasters quit their podcasts every week, and nothing against that. We're not judging, and I'm not judging. It's just, they've lost the passion. Okay, I've talked to those people. Why'd you stop? I'm not passionate about it anymore. Okay, that's fine. Maybe I could change your passion by not worrying about the money and focus on the connection, but we're not going to dive into that. You said something else. You said hire, release, and I believe you said grow or growth, where I believe Steve wanted, what would you say? What was the other?
Reinforce. So at every turn, reinforce that culture. At every turn, you as the leader have to be modeling that, right? And you have to expect that your leaders and your team are modeling that same. Because otherwise, if you hire for it and you don't reinforce it, then why did you hire for it to begin with, right? Why did you go through the pain of looking for that unicorn, honestly, of someone who has those three parts plus is an expert in what they do?
I'm going to add a fourth one. You're brilliant, Kenny. Man, I've just met you. I just love how you do business because the fourth one is growing out of the business. Steve Ramona works for you, and he's got a sales manager job that's going to triple his pay because you taught me all this, how to be business. Isn't that a part of this too? People, what's the word I want?
That's part of the reinforcement, right? And that is a perfect example because honestly, we just had that not even 6 weeks ago in the organization. Our top sales leader, who is just did some amazing things for us over the past 5 years, had an opportunity to go, into another category and continue to lead larger teams and make more money. We couldn't offer him that job here. We just couldn't. And man, did we celebrate him on the way out because we had him for a period of time. We were able to develop him into the leader that he now can go kind of lead other organizations with. And that's part of reinforcing the culture. It's not hang on. It's actually celebrate and celebrate the fact that, man, I had the opportunity to shape somebody for 5 years. And now they're going to go take this exact same culture, this servant hearts culture, into another organization that maybe has never been exposed to it all day long.
So when they walked out the door, you didn't sit down in your chair and go, "Woe is me."
No, in fact, it's honest truth. I didn't even try to save them. We didn't even try to throw a different offer in front of them, or we just said, dude, this is where you belong. And we are so honored to have you for the 5 years. And hopefully you're honored because you got some really, really good development underneath you, and take those skills elsewhere, man, and just fly. Yeah. But do it with the 3 ingredients. Make sure you're passionate about where you're going and what their mission is. Make sure you're super inquisitive and you're pressing on the organization and its culture, and make sure you're doing it all with humility. Otherwise, yeah, it's a fail.
So what would you tell somebody that says to you, "Hey, that was great, you did. I can't do that. I lose my top sales guy. My revenue is going to dip. I'm going to be in trouble."
Yeah, I would say play the long game. I would say be super introspective about are you building a system that reinforces itself and builds on itself, or are you building for a quarter, just to make a specific goal? We've seen too many companies fail, and too many companies suffer for the latter type thinking. And I would just challenge whoever that is just to say, play the long game. Build a system that feeds upon itself. Build a system that's self-sustaining, that doesn't actually require you as the leader or as the entrepreneur.
Love the long game. I say love a lot. I just realized it. But I do love that because, audience, what he's saying is, yeah, that person's going to have a dip, but you just go find another Steve Ramona or Kenny Wyatt that's as good. You train them, and you're going to pick it up and maybe even bypass revenue goal. That's exactly what's going to happen. Dips are not a bad thing, but that leads to being grounded in business under pressure. You've been in, sounds like high pressure jobs, sounds like sales jobs. What's a piece of advice you give the entrepreneurs and business owners listening that, like, how do I stay grounded? How do I stay patient?
Yeah. It's super hard, isn't it? Particularly when you're under pressure for a number, or you've lost a customer, whatever it is, right? I'd say several things, and this is where the reinforcement of the culture really, really starts to shine. One is if you hired people that are smarter than you with humility, that will continue to reinforce the culture, they will shine in those days, right? They will step into crises with you, alongside you. And it's just super important. If you've built a system where everybody's looking to you for the answer, you're going to fail in a crisis, no question. If you've built a system where you've empowered everybody through how you've hired, how you've reinforced, how you've let back to the market, but also how you build this no daylight culture. Man, it's amazing how you shine in a crisis. And again, Steve, it comes back to humility around the crisis will be gone tomorrow. The crisis will be gone next week. Continue to keep your eye on the on the long ball, and trust your team to kind of help you through the bumps. It's happened 1,000 times in my career, and I'm not proud of some ways I've reacted. I'm more proud of other ways, but those are the lessons I've learned.
God made us fallible. We're going to make mistakes.
Right.
But Warren Buffett had 40 companies go bankrupt in 10 years.
That's right.
He's doing quite well, not only financially, but just helping others. So it's not the end all be all. It's just a bump in the road. Before we get to the end here, you said no daylight. You mentioned it just again a little bit. Dive into that a little bit more. I'm excited to hear.
I tease that. One of the pieces to reinforce the culture is, we don't have impact on communities through churches and therefore growing revenue, for instance. We don't have any of that based on one person's or one team's job. And so therefore you have to reinforce every single day that there's no daylight between sales and marketing and product and CS and finance and operations and HR and you name it, engineering. If there's daylight between those, you are suboptimizing your results and therefore your impact in the marketplace. And so we look for daylight all the time and try to close it inside the organization, right? We look for the salesperson in a crisis who's not making their number, for instance, just one example, who's blaming the product team for not getting the product out to market in time, or blaming the marketing team. Man, that's daylight. That requires a conversation, right? This is where inquisitive comes in, right? That requires a push on the organization to make sure goals are aligned. But that's daylight. That's a cancer to an organization. So how do you drive that out and make sure that everybody is as close to kind of being on the same mission as possible? And so around Pushpay, we've got stickers on all the computers just on no daylight, and people are looking for daylight to drive it out. And what that creates is collaboration. What that creates is debate. What that creates is maybe a little bit of heat. But what most importantly it creates is a better answer for our customer over time.
Love that, because the wider that gap is with no daylight, with daylight, the worse problems. And that's why companies go bankrupt. Those daylights get so wide they can't recover from it for whatever reason.
We've all seen it, and it starts from the top and what you reinforce, who you hire, who you return.
Yep. I'm finishing a book called Buy-In Culture. I think that's the name of it. David Garrison's his name. But he talks about collective genius. It's exactly, I just read that yesterday, so it's funny you're bringing this up. Exactly it. Collaboration, collective genius. Be fair with each other. Be human with each other. Don't just, hey, you're stupid, Kenny, Steve, that's dumb. Be professional, and big things will happen.
Yeah. We try to practice radical candor as much as we possibly can, but we do it with grace and we do it with honor, right? To your whoever your fellow, colleague is. It's not without hard conversations. It's not without push. It's not without debates. But it is with a lot of respect, and it is with a lot of earned trust that we try to build over time.
That's key, earned trust amongst each other and you and your employees. Last question. You've made so many impacts just listening to you. You made an impact on the show today, and I thank you for that. What is Kenny's legacy going to look like in the next 2 to 3 years?
Yeah, if I can build up leaders that will have their individual impact either on the mission we're already serving, which are in local communities through the church, or through other categories, and they're changing people's lives and developing leaders up underneath them that will change people's lives in the future. Man, that's my legacy. That's it. Just raise up great leaders, train them, give them opportunities, and then send them off to have bigger impact. You
know your purpose, don't you?
I do. Yeah. I wake up every day and try to drive for it.
And audience, I'm going to give you a quick lesson here. See how fast he answered that question with purpose? If you can't answer a question within a second, it's okay. but start figuring out your purpose. Work on that, because that's the guy you mentioned earlier in the podcast, passion. And before our show, you talked about passion. Purpose is so important. It's a game changer in business. Let's end with a fun question to get to know Kenny. So I come out to where you live. You're going to pick your favorite restaurant. We'll go have dinner. Two things I want you to do. I want you to invite 3 people, whether dead or alive, who've made a huge impact on your life. Just pop off the top of your head. And 2, I'm a foodie. I like to try food. So I want to know Kenny's favorite food. What would he order for the table?
Okay. 3 people real quick. One is my wife. She's been alongside me for 34 years. We're about to be empty nesters. I'm spending every last waking minute with her. So that's one. No debate. She's there. Second is Peter. He is my favorite guy from the Bible because he was so stinking irreverent. And he was just, man, the questions he would ask and how he'd press in and kind of mix things up. I would just love to get in the brain of that guy and really understand what makes him tick. The third is my dad. Had the biggest impact on me, on my career, more importantly, on my family life and my faith life. And so those are the 3 without question. It'd be a really fun conversation with the 4 of us.
Oh my God, I can't wait. I have so many questions for Peter. I think me and you would be there would tell the restaurant we're closing at midnight or 3 o'clock. We got a few hours to work here. What's your wife and dad's name to do shout outs?
Jennifer is my wife, and my dad's name is Dave.
Shout out to both of you.
Yeah, for
You have
sure.
a wonderful son and an incredible husband. You've done well so far with that one.
We would be eating fajitas, medium rare, with both corn and flour tortillas with all the fixings. I'm a pretty simple guy. I grew up in Texas, Steve, and it's just, man, just roll them up and eat them. So that'd be it.
I'm hungry again. I just had lunch. I'm in. Count me in.
Good.
Kenny, I'm going to do something for you because I'm impressed by you. Audience, this is your reward for staying this long. 2 rewards. 1, Kenny's taught you so much about business. Entrepreneur, your friend has a business. These tips you can share and learn from. But number 2, you know what I'm going to do for you? I'm going to send you a free book. The first 5 people, you have to reach out to Kenny and mention this podcast and say, hey, I heard you on Steve's podcast or, doing business servant's heart. Mention to Kenny and he'll get your contact info. I will reach out, get your address, and I'll send you one of my favorite books. Because you know what? Me and Kenny want to work together and make impact. And that's the way I can do that.
100%.
Kenny, thanks again for taking the time.
Man, it was my pleasure. Super grateful for the time. I'm grateful for your audience and their passion for wanting to learn more. And man, we're all learning about how to lead companies with servant's heart. So I'm super grateful just to speak in just a little bitty part of that, at least for now.
It's beautiful. And how can they reach out to you? Because I know people are waiting right now. What's his contact info?
Kenny.Wyatt, Wyatt at pushpay.com. Super easy.
And we'll put his website up and all that. I'm sure you have a contact page there. You can do it that way too if you didn't get the email. Or reach out to me. You can contact me. But anyway, just reach out and I'll get you connected with them. And there's another reason I'm doing this. Here's a third reason. You get to learn about what he's doing. And if you have a church that you work with, connect the church with them. See how we can help. It's powerful. So thanks again, Kenny. And audience, share this out. Church pastors, you go to a church, a nonprofit, share this out. Have them listen to this and see if it's a fit. I think it will be. But imagine if it is a fit and Kenny impacts them and helps them grow. You just gave a gift out. And that's what we should be doing in this world, especially today with the way it's going. So with that being said, me and Kenny want to thank all of you for watching or listening to this podcast, and we'll see you all on the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.